The last man in the castle was this French guy, and everybody hated him. And not just because he was French, but because he would sneak out at night and do all the ladies. And the ladies loved it. And what were the fellas going to do? A bunch of Welsh fishermen and farmers. They can't compete with the French fop with his darly moustache and a certain I don't know what. I was going out with this girl from Wrexham, and she said to me, "It's nice here, you've got a massive castle." I said, "You what?" She said, "A massive castle, have you not noticed it?" I said, "Of course I've noticed it, it's a massive castle, but I grew up here so I don't notice it." She said, "Are you going to walk me to the junction?" I said, "It's raining." And then I thought, she's right. It's nice having a massive castle. I'm going to open my eyes. I was in the bogs at the Liverpool Arms and my mate's dad comes in and stands right next to me, even though there's space down the end. So I'm eyes front looking at this mad old picture from the olden days. My mate's dad says, "That's Xavier, the last man in the castle." I said, "Oh, he looks like the cat who got the cream." And my mate's dad says, "Tosser." And I thought he meant me, but he didn't, he meant him. And then he shook and left, and a bit of his wee went on my hand. Anyhow, I want to tell you this story about how all my dreams came true. And I'm telling you this because it might help you get all your dreams to come true. Then you can be a great success like me. The story takes place over 20 years, so I've had to cut a few bits out, but it'll feel like 20 years. Not because it's bad, but because it's full of rich insights and phenomenal success. It was a few days before my 30th birthday, and I was thinking about how life had settled down. I've got my mates, my job, my house and my girlfriend, but I was feeling anxious. I was holding the stop-go sign, which is not my job, but the lad who owns it hadn't turned up. And all the people in the cars were giving me daggers because there was no cars coming the other way. But I was waiting for a sign from Griff down the end. And besides, if it was green for you, then the people down the end would be moaning. And you can't have it both ways. Not with the stop-go sign. And my birthday wasn't until Monday, so Gwen said, "Do your mates on Saturday and we'll do Sunday lunch on Sunday." Liverpool drew 0-0 with United, and no one knew what to make of it. It was like a mystery. And Griff took apart his Honda in his front room and lost a nut. And Matt said, "The new Metallica album isn't total crap." And I said to Luke, who's older than us, "When you turn 30, do all your dreams die?" And Luke's got this special talent. He can burp and say bollocks at the same time, which is what he did. Gwen was dead chuffed. It was 2 for 1 at the Mulberry meal deal. And I was thinking, I'm lucky to have her, because even though I'm not perfect, she loves me all the same. And then she said to me, "You can have a pudding, but we've got ice cream at home." I said, "Oh." And then when we were getting into the car, I said to her, "I might go up the mountain." She said, "In your new trainers?" I said, "I've got my boots in the boot and the cagoule on the back ledge." She said, "I might go and have a sleep." So I'm climbing up the mountain, and I thought, if I'm going to make all my dreams come true by the time I'm 30, I better get on with it. And then I thought, well, maybe my dreams have already come true. You know, I've got my mates, my job, my house, and I've got Gwen. And then I thought, well, maybe dreams can't come true, because if your dreams came true, they wouldn't be dreams, would they? They'd be reality. Then what would you have? On top of Conwy Mountain, there's this old Roman fort. There's nothing left of it, so don't bother trekking up. They're moaning to me afterwards. There's a rectangle of rubble and a plaque, but the view is ace. You can see why they built it, but it's a bit of a slog. So you can see why the lazy French built the castle down in the town. And you can see that when the seas rise, Llandudno is... Anyway, I was stood at that bit that rock climbers climb, this sheer face. When I was at school, this lad's dad jumped off here, dead. No one knew why he did it. And so we started bullying the lad, which, looking back at it, was cruel, but, you know, if you're dead in your head, you're free. And I thought, me and Gwen should split up or get married. Then something clicked. It was a camera behind me. this little girl in a blue Cougaloo took my picture. She said to me, I just took your picture because with the cliff and the sea and the sky, you look like an old god. I said, oh. Then she said, now get out of the way because I want to snap the view. So I looked about to see if I could see a mum or a dog, but she was on her own. And she was only about 11, and I thought, she's a bit full of herself. And she disappeared. And then I remembered what Gwen had said to me. You can have a pudding, but we've got ice cream at home. So I started making my way down the mountain, and then the heavens opened. They started chucking it down. And I thought, I'm going to split up with Gwen before I'm 30, then make all my dreams come true. When I get in, Gwen's still asleep. I can hear her snoring upstairs, and I thought, I can't just wake her up and dump her. We've been going out 10 years, and we've known each other all our lives. I thought, I'll make a brew, have the ice cream, watch a bit of telly, then wake her up and dump her. But then she comes downstairs. So we're watching telly, and I thought, right, next ad break. So then the ads come on, and I said to her, Gwen, listen. And she says, oh, this tea goes right through me. And she legged it off. So I stood up, getting ready to say what I've got to say. But when she comes back, she goes, do you want another brew? And I said, well, if you're having one. And then she legged it off to the kitchen. And then when she comes back in again, she goes, oh, it's starting again. And so we sit back down. And I thought, right, next ad break. So the ads come on. And I said to her, Gwen, listen. And she says, do you want more ice cream? And I was in a real quandary because I love mint choc chip. But I said, no, listen. She says, I've got squirty sauce. I said, Gwen, we've been going out 10 years and we've known each other all our lives. And I'm 30 tomorrow. And I know this isn't the right way to do this, but she says, hang on. I think I can hear Biff scratching at the back. Biff's our cat, named after the lead singer of Saxon, who I've seen 10 times. But I said, will you sit down and listen? I'm trying to say something here. And she knew I meant business because Gwen's not scared of anyone, especially me, but she was. And I said, Gwen, will you marry me? And she said, yeah. So me and Gwen got married. Matt was the best man. She said to me, I don't want to muck about, I want kids straight away. I said, yeah, me too. Then when it was my next birthday, me and the lads went wild camping on Glidderbower, and me and Gwen did Sunday lunch in Lancaster. She said to me, do you want to open your present now? I said, go on then. And it was a camera, a good one. I said to her, this is a good one. She said, did you think I'd get you a crap one? I said, no, I just didn't think you knew about these things. She said, I don't. But when we were first going out, you had a camera and you were dead into it. And you took us to that thing by that bloke from Dalgethley, and I was well impressed. Not with him, with you. I thought, oh, he's a bit arty. Because I thought you were just into heavy metal and crab fishing. I said, Rinrandu. She said, do you what? I said, Rinrandu, the bloke from Dalgethley. You won't have heard of him, but he's famous. Best photographer in Britain. He got his start in the Chromatic, which is a photo gallery down in London. She said, all right. I said, that thing in the downstairs toilet, that's him. Rinrandu grew up about 40 miles south of here. Does all these pictures of like scree and shale and frost on the rocks. Black and white. You wouldn't like them, but I do. And when it was my next birthday, me and Gwen still didn't have a kid. And I still hadn't used the new camera. And I thought I better add, otherwise she might not get me anything this year. And I wanted waterproof socks, seal skins, and the bollocks. So I took these pictures of Gwen on the beach in a big scarf by the groins, where D-Day started, which you might not know, but it's true. That's why the pub in the marina is called the Mulberry. But they came out crap. I mean, that's the problem with a good camera. You've got to know what you're doing, otherwise it's a right dog's dinner. Gwen says, let's have a look. I said, hang on. Delete, delete, delete. Then I hit a button and something happened and there was no way out. I'd accidentally zoomed in, but it looked good. So I started mucking about until everything looked like it meant something. Gwen comes in and says, "What's that?" I said, "It's you." She said, "Me? It looks like a blob with a rainbow sticking out of it." "I love it. Have you got any more?" And I showed her and she said, "These are good. You're good." But I felt like that monkey who stepped in paint and walked on a canvas in California where everyone said, "Oh, we found the new Picasso." There's this girl at Gwen's work called Libby, and we met up on the quay, and she bought a turquoise skipping rope with lights in the handles, and I shot all these pictures of her like jumping about, but they all came out crap again, and I was bricking it because, you know, it's one thing getting your wife wrong, but when it's another woman you want it to come out good. So I went for a walk, and on my way home I bought half a bottle of vodka and a tin of Tango. Then I got right into it. Gwen comes in and I said, "Tell Libby the computer broke and all was lost." She says, "Come on, let's have a look." I said, "I'm only a monkey with paint on his paws." She said, "Oh, I like this one. It looks like a multicoloured angel wrapped in spinning stars. What's it called?" I said, IMG 906. She said, "No, you've got to give it a proper name." Then it came to me. Starlight Angel. She said, "I love it." And she kissed me like I was blessed. I met up with Leanne from Crewe, who was living in Mockdee and working at the van hire. And she bought a pink umbrella and a hula hoop. And we went halfway up Conwy Mountain to that flat bit where the tin mine was, where there's this massive granite boulder that has fallen from above. And I shot all these pictures and they all came out crap, but I didn't care. And not because Leanne was dead annoying and kept asking about food and slagging off my flask coffee, but because I knew I could do them up. And so once I was done, I said, "I'm done." She says, "Hang on." I said, "What? Come on, I want to get back for the second half." She says, "What if I was curled up in front of that big rock, nude? Or have you got to get back?" I said, "I've got a couple of minutes." Now, Leanne is not the kind of person you'd think of as a model. I mean, she's not pleasant to look at. But a naked body is like a sacrament. Neither of us spoke. She twisted, I snapped. And when I showed Gwen, she said, "These are the best yet." I said, "I call it Hula Mountain Magic." And then she said, "Look at this." And she showed me an advert for a photo competition in Liverpool. She said, "Look who the judge is. It's your mate, Rinrandu from Dalgethley." But I got all quiet. And I said to her, "I'm not doing this for other people. This is just my hobby. It's not meant to be a competition. I mean, I like hiking up the mountains. Doesn't mean I've got to join the Welsh Olympic mountain hiking squad, does it?" She said, "Is that a real thing?" I said, "I don't know." I got too angry, and I'm embarrassed about being angry because I'm trying to be strong and not weak, like a man. Then we went to bed and tried for the kid, and I thought about Leanne from the Crewe, curled up on the granite with a hula hoop. A couple of months later, I'm working the roller, flattening bumps that had only this morning been potholes. And we're up on the Sychnant Pass. But I'm 1,000 miles away. Headphones on. Princess of the Night by Saxon. It's about a train. Me, Matt and Luke went to see Saxon in Pwllheli last year because they're not as big as they used to be. I think because they ran out of machines of transport to write about. I mean, they'd done a motorbike, a steam train, a jet plane and a sports car, and then they were done. Anyhow, Matt comes over and says, "Your phone keeps buzzing, it's Gwen." I said, "Oh." He said, "It might be important." I said, "Right." And then I thought, hang on, it might be important. So I called her and she said, "When are you back?" I said, "I can come back now if you like." "What is it?" She said, "I'll tell you when you're back, I want to see your face." And then Matt says to me, "Is she alright?" And I said, "I think I'm going to be a dad. I might skip off early. If Luke comes, tell him I hit me thumb." And Matt says to me, make sure you get her something. I said, you what? He said, a present. I said, I think she's had my present. But then I went to the Tesco at the junction. And I stopped and thought, hang on, pink or blue? Then I saw this baby bonnet in white. And when I was at the checkout, it was the only thing I was buying. Well, that and a Twix. And this old woman doing bagging up looked at me like she knew what was in my heart. And for the first time in a long time, I felt like a decent human being. When I got in, Gwen was in the kitchen, sitting, holding this letter. And I'd got the baby bonnet and my donkey jacket ready to go. And she says to me, guess what? I said, we're having a kid. She said, you what? I said, are we not? And she said, why did you say that? I said, because you kept phoning me, so I thought it was something important. She said, what's the matter with you? I said, well, what is it then? I've left work early for this. Now I'm going to have to lie about my thumb. She said, you won. I said, won what? She said, the photo competition in Liverpool. I know you told me not to, but I sent off Starlight Angel and it won. And Marin Randu's the judge. So you're going to get to meet your hero and you get £5,000. I didn't know what to say. I was in shock. And then I thought, hang on, I haven't kept the receipt for the baby bonnet. It's $12.99. And then I looked at the letter and everything she said was true. And I got in a panic because if the door to dreams is closed, then what's this? Now, I'm only a monkey with paint on his paws. And I felt like I had to wrap myself in intimacy. So I went for a walk on my own, then got drunk. We get to Liverpool and he's not there. They're in the Randu. He's in Rome. And so I get talking to this bloke who didn't know that I was me. And I said to him, what about that Starlight Angel then, eh? And he laughed. I said, it won. And then he pretended he had to go over there, but he didn't. I mean, he did, but he didn't have to. I said to Gwen, come on, he's not even here. I've got the money, let's go. And she says, now there's this woman wants to meet you. And she introduced me to this Gemma who said, have you got representation? I said, you what? And she gave me a card. And on the way home I thought, I'm going to use this £5,000 to get IVF for Gwen, then we can have a kid. And Gwen saw me smiling in my head and she said, are you alright? I said, yeah. We were passing the Duke of Lancaster, rotting in the docks at Flint. It's a boat, it's a right rust bucket. But at night, it's magical. And I thought, Saxon could do a song about it. They've not done a boat, have another hit. So I called this Gemma in Liverpool. She said to me, what's your name? And she knew my name. She said, to sign your prints. I said, Ian Parry. Then I said, no, hang on. Zav, like short for Xavier. She says, oh, so X-A-V. I said, no, Z-A-V. She said, but... I said, but what? She said, but I love it. And I thought, what if I was the cat who got the cream? And then the door to dreams opened like a little bit. A few months later, Gemma cracked open a bottle of champagne because I was a bestseller. We'd done 45 of my signed prints at £100 a go at this restaurant in Knutsford. 25 at a cafe in Kendal, and there was an organic steakhouse in Altrincham that looked promising. But I said to her, can't we sell my stuff somewhere cool, like the Chromatic? It's a photo gallery in London. She said, I know what it is, but I don't think it's a good fit. I said, but everyone loves my stuff. She said, yeah, I know, but I don't think it's a good fit. So I sent some stuff off behind her back, and I get a letter back from this Fenella at the Chromatic. She says, we don't think it's a good fit. And when it was Gwen's birthday, I was going to get the IVF, but I got her a tumble dryer instead. because ours screeches. And I got myself some new clothes because Gemma said I've got to build my brand. I got these brown brogues, tweed suit and a polka dot cravat. And Matt said, "What have you come as?" And Luke said, "Chris Eubank." And they started laughing at my shoes. I said, "They're not yellow, they're just very shiny." Anyhow, I thought I looked like Cary Grant. And they were still working on the roads. And me and Gwen still didn't have a kid. A few months later, I get a call from Gemma. And she says, "We've had this offer, but I don't think it's right for you. There's this company that wants to license some of your images. But it means they'll be using all these like biscuit boxes and birthday cards and cheesy calendars. Just high street tat. So I think it's wrong for you." I said, "How much?" She said, "It's 25 grand up front, and then you get 5 grand a year for the next 3 years, renewable." I said, "I'm in." She said, "But you sure that's what you want?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "Okay, Ian." I said, "It's not Ian, it's Zav." She was right. It's spelt with an X. But it was too late because I built my brand. And I signed the deal. Then the money started rolling in. Proper money. I quit my job. I bought a flat in Liverpool. And me and Gwen split up. And Matt said to me, "Have you lost your fucking mind?" Gemma was wrong about the biscuit boxes because once I was everywhere, and sales went through the roof. And we started going out. Rimran Du does this thing where he paints over his prints to make them unique. So I did the same to be unique like him. And it worked. Sales went through the roof again. I sold Riverside Sparkle, otherwise known as the lid off Casper's original Christmas chocolate collection, for 7 grand. And I started getting into like cufflinks and tie pins. But I don't look like Chris Eubank. He's taller than me for a start. I look like a gent, like Cary Grant or Guy Ritchie. I went from success to success. And then I was 40 and I said to Gemma, "Do you want kids?" She said, "Yeah." So we got married. I did a commission for a stamp. It was a sexy model in old-fashioned train smoke about to kiss a World War I soldier. It was called We'll Meet Again. Everyone loved it. Then I did a thing for S4C. I had to walk around Conwy and talk about the real me. But someone threw chips at us from the ramparts, and then a massive seagull attacked the first AD, so we had to go. Then the Daily Mail did a profile about me. They said, "You don't think you know him, but you do." It was dead positive. Except they'd used this picture of me all suited and booted next to a picture of Chris Eubank. But I made 80 grand that year, so. Then someone told me that Gwen's had a kid. I said, "At 41, fair play." He said, "No, the kid's 8. She had it the year after you and her split up. She had it with your mate Luke. It's a girl called Lara." I said, "Good, I'm glad she's happy." And me and Gemma had no kids. And she kept trying to stop me from doing things at work. I said to her, "Don't let good taste get in the way of a good deal." I never do. Then I googled what no man should Google. My ex-wife's wedding to my best mate Luke. Everyone was there. Leanne from Crew was there. Matt was best man. Again. And I said to myself, like, stop it. It's better to live in ignorance. Then something weird happened. And things got strange. Lilac Sunset sold for 300 grand at an auction in Monaco. In the brochure it said, "Every sunset is unique." But that wasn't quite true because I'd done 10 copies. It had been used in an advert for a bank. They had this couple looking at the sky, but it was really my picture on the wall of their new house, which they bought with a loan from the bank. And they used that music from True Romance, that bit where Dennis Hopper gets murdered. British Airways music. And just while I'm thinking about it, there are some people that if you don't phone them, you never hear from them again. Money is funny in a rich man's world. Then Lucy, the model from Sentimental Journey, which I'd shot in Southport with the Spaniel and a Jensen Healy, she messages me and we go out and we end up back at mine. Not the place I share with Gemma, but my place in the Albert Dock, in the studio. And she tells me of her travels and how she's up for a movie. Then she picks up my Rolleiflex and I said to her, "Hey, do you know how much that cost?" And she smiles at me like I'm a silly boy, but I'm not, I'm a serious man. And she says, "Shoot me." Then she dropped her dress and she's in this red lingerie contraption and she says, "Lilac sunset." Ooh. And I said, "Stick your foot on that chair and twist your head like this." And she did everything I said. And then she said to me, I could never love a man who wasn't an artist. And I wasn't sure what she meant, so I thought I'll kiss her and see what happens next. But what happened next was horrendous. Accusations in the press, people calling me the devil, then asking for money. And then me and Gemma split up. But we'd been married 3 years and we still didn't have a kid, so I went to see a doctor and he said, "There's nothing wrong with you physically." And then Gemma called and said, "We don't have to split up." But we did. Then in amongst all the messages saying, "Your dead soul will rot in hell for all eternity," which is an actual text I actually got from my new best friend, unknown number, there was a message from this agent in London, Clive at Spectrum. It was massive. Not physically. And so I moved to London. And Clive said to me, "Why is the Mona Lisa the most famous picture in the world?" I said, "Because everyone's heard of it." He said, "The Mona Lisa is the most famous picture in the world because it went on tour in America and it got stolen." I said, "Right, so we should nick some of my stuff." He said, "We should do a tour of America." I said, "Yeah, that's what I meant." And so I did. And I sold the Golden Road for $150,000. But I'm not allowed to say who to. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I've been to his house, he's got like 10 cooks who just stuff food down his gob all day, it's weird. I'd shot it on this road in Glencoe which had been used in the James Bond film. But I added like an old-fashioned biplane as if the Wright brothers were flitting by, just to give it a bit of, you know. Then I was on this chat show in Los Angeles with an art professor and he said to me, "Your work is saccharine drivel." But the audience booed him and sales rose. Then Lucy from Sentimental Journey tried to expose me again, but the American press exposed her. We were in a race to see who was the worst human being in the world. I won. Not because I'm the worst human being in the world, but because the American people were on my side. Because Lucy had a spicy past. Whereas I've been a married man. Twice. They respect that, the Americans. And when I got back, I got a call from the office. And this girl says, "We're doing a bank transfer. Which account would you like it in?" I said, "It doesn't matter." She said, "It's for £1 million." I said, "In that case, do me Santander." Then Clive picks up and says, "You're on speakerphone, pal." And all the office cheered. And he said, "Have a great night." And I did. Vodka, Monster Munch, Dirty Rotten Scoundrels on Blu-ray. And then I started thinking about what Clive had said to me when I first moved to London. Why is the Mona Lisa famous? And I'd done a tour of America. So I called Griff, and he comes down to London with two farmers' sons from Anglesey, and I give them £5 apiece. And they broke in to the Spectrum Gallery and stole Starlight Angel, my signature piece. But it didn't get in the press. I got Griff to call the Metro News and say, "Did you hear about the big art heist?" And they said no, and then hung up. Then Clive got dead mad at me because the Anglesey farmers' sons had broken a window from the 17th century and a chair from John Lewis. I said, "It was your idea." He said, "What?" I said, "The Mona Lisa." He said, "Boom." And then he billed me a pretty penny. Then the Anglesey farmers' sons come back down to London, all silent and serious. I said, "What are you drinking?" No reply. I said, "Lemmy's from Anglesey." Nothing. Then they said, "We want more money." I said, "Come off it, you've had £5 apiece and it never even got in the papers." And I wouldn't budge. But then it did get in the papers, because they sold their story. In the Daily Mail it said, "Top class photographer is top class loser." And in the Metro News it said, "Ageing hack steals own tat." And they used this horrible picture of me without my hair dye. And I thought, I need to stop dressing like Chris Eubank. But sales rose. I did a commission for a casino in New Jersey, and a hotel in Dubai bought the Sands of Time, which I'd shot by the lighthouse in Talacra, Point of Air. And then Clive was my best mate again. So I was 45, a millionaire, multi-millionaire, with 3 houses, 2 divorces, no kids. And everything I wasn't who I am. So I made a plan to become myself again. I told Clive I was taking a break and I got a new sim. Then I rented an ex-council flat in Borough and took a job at Halls of Residence as a handyman, painting the walls and scraping off gunk. But also, I sent money off to the Chromatic Gallery anonymously, and they asked me to join their board, hopefully. But I let them wait, mischievously. The supervisor of the cleaners was called Gaynor, and we'd said hello a couple of times, but that was about it. And then it was Friday night in the Oak, and she comes in with a couple of mates and they sit near me and we get talking. About a week later we go out and she's all like cautious and guarded, like she's been hurt. Then she says to me, she almost got married but he was an alcoholic. And how a mum has moved back to Trinidad. And how when a new student moves in, she puts flowers in a glass. And how she's tried a Kindle, but she prefers the real thing. And I thought, I'm going to make all your dreams come true. A couple of months later, we're in bed with Netflix. She's laughing her head off. She kept saying, "You've never seen Breaking Bad. You've never seen Breaking Bad." And it was dead funny. It was like as if she was ready to love again. So I bought a ring and bided my time. Then I'm going into work and these 2 students who do part-time reception start laughing at me. And one of them says, "Are you Zav?" I said, "No." And then they played me a video of me, which was clearly me. And I said, can you not tell anyone, because I'm trying to be normal. And they said, oh yeah, sure, no worries. And that night, Gaynor didn't show up. And I called her, she didn't answer. So I went round her flat, and she wouldn't open the door. She just pulled back that little curtain she's got in the window and looked at me. I said, are you all right? And then she let go. So I spoke to her through the letterbox. I said, it's not a lie, because it's good. I can make all your dreams come true. She wasn't at work the following day. And then my boss says to me, there's plenty of people who could do with a steady job. And I can't fire you because that's not legal, but... And so I quit. And from that day to this, I have not seen or heard from Gaynor again. Which I admire. I mean, that's strength. If it was me, I'd probably want to see me again. Have a dream come true. And so I went back to my world of earthly riches. Then I get a message from the Chromatic inviting me to an evening. I get there and Fenella, the boss, hugs me, like as if I'm family. Then she puts a hand on my back and turns me around. And there he is, Rin Randu himself, looking all poised and perfect like marketing. And so I legged it. I left the building, and then I'm stood in the street, trembling and shaking and resenting all humanity. And I think about Gwen, and I think about Gemma, and I think about Gaynor. And then a bloke from Dalgethley says, do you want to get a drink? And so we did. And Rin Randu knew everything about me. And he was full of compliments and full of grace. And we talked of Betsy Coward and Ross Niger, which are places, not people. And of Innislandwyn and Aberdaron and the bogs at the Liverpool Arms. And then he says to me, what's troubling you? I said, there's nothing wrong with me, my friend, I'm feeling fine. And then he looked into my heart and I cracked and said, how come they don't like me? How come they don't accept me? Everybody else likes me. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson loves me. And Rin Randu just kept looking at me like as if he was genuinely listening. I said, I'm pushing 50 and I feel like a boy. I've got no legacy. Just biscuit boxes, birthday cards, adverts and a stamp. I am the king of High Street Tat. You're the king of the castle. I'm the dirty rascal. And then he said to me, where does it come from? I said, you what? He said, where? I said, you've lost me. He said, you work. I said, I don't know. I see things, snap them, do them up and flog them. And then he said, forgive me. I don't think I'm being clear. And I thought, when you're with someone who's cleverer than you can never win, even when you're right. He said, where in you? He said, what of the soul? And I thought, I'm going to twat this lad in a minute. He said, is that your soul? The motor cars, the steam trains, the Wright brothers over Scotland. And then it occurred to me that many of my great works have in some way been influenced by the songs of Barnsley heavy metal band Saxon. I said to him, my stuff's nice. And he nodded, as if I'd finally confessed my crime. And then he said, like, to the air, sentimentality is cruelty. I said, you what? He said, who do you love? I said, lots of people. He said, what was your dad like? Why did he do it? And then I split. And Fenella and the phonies were out on the street, milling about, laughing about how great they are on my dime. Then the Rin Randu comes out of the pub and he touches me, like as if he thinks he's my priest. So I punch him in the eyes, knock him to the ground and batter him. Then I went up to Fenella and the phonies and I said, yeah, not a good fit. I moved to the south of France, capped on Antibes. About 6 months later, this girl comes to my door and I thought, have I forgot a job? And then she smiles at me like as if we know each other. And then we hug. And she feels like as if I've known her since the beginning of time. She feels like every woman who's loved me and every dream I've dreamed all rolled into one. And she says to me, is my mum there? I'm Laura from Conwy. And then Gwen comes through the gate and goes, oh, so this is where you're hiding. We're on holiday in Juan Lapan. Griff said to look you up. Come on, get the kettle on, I'm gasping. So they came in for a cup of tea. Then they left. And then Lara comes back on her own. And we hug again for a very, 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 very long time. And she touches my face with her face. And then she whispers into my ear, if you'd not left my mum, you'd be my dad. And I said, I don't think it works like that. And then we went round the back to the pool. And she took off her cardie. And I took off my lens cap. Then halfway through the shoot, Luke comes round. And he picks up one of my cameras and starts swinging it like a medieval mace. And before I can put his mind at rest, he catches me with an uppercut. Lara's screaming, I go flying backwards, and they leave me in a pool of my own blood. My actual swimming pool of my own blood. He broke me dentures. Flight to Liverpool, taxi to Chester, train to Llandudno Junction. Then I climbed up Conwy Mountain to that sheer face that rock climbers climb. And then I jumped. And then this tree sticking out of the cliff goes right up the back of my jacket. And I'm hanging there like a prat. And I cry for help, but I'm too embarrassed. And I'm just hanging there all through the night. Arachidinus. And when the sun rose over Ganwy, I could see everything that I've always known. And when the sun touched my face, I started laughing. And I thought, I'd love a bit of soup. Proper soup from a can. Tomato soup. With thick brown bread or a crusty bloomer. In a white tin bowl with a dark blue rim like my nan had. Just dipping it in. Dip, dip. Yum, yum. Dip, dip. Yum, yum. And then I closed my eyes because I'm in paradise. And then I hear all this scratching and scraping down below me. I look down and there's this woman in a blue cougaloo scaling the face. she gets up level with me and she says, "Are you all right?" And I said, "Yeah." Because I was.